Alrighty guys, it's final expense story time again. I'm going to share with you a story from many years ago where I ran into the wrong guy that probably, I would say, is my most scariest final expense appointment yet. And in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you that old video where I talked about the details and hope you get a few laughs at my expense of sometimes when you run into the wrong final expense prospect. So without further ado, here's the video. Greetings there, it's Dave Duford again from Final Expense Agent Mentor at feagentmentor.com. And today, I'm going to continue with my crazy stories from the wild world of final expense sales. I've already shared with you a couple. If you haven't listened to them, go ahead and do that. May cause you to rethink this career, but hey, it's funny at my expense. So this new video we're going to do, story I'm going to share, is about one where I took a guy on a ride-along up in Middle Tennessee. This was, to date, after thousands of presentations, the most frightening, harrowing story of running a life insurance deal. But I'm sure you'll get a good kick out of it because, hey, that's the whole point of these videos. So here's a little run-up to how it works. So I was riding with this guy from Georgia, new to the final expense business, showing him the ropes. And admittedly, it was probably the worst ride-along I've ever had. I ran a bunch of appointments, didn't sell a damn thing, looked like a complete fool. It was really embarrassing. The leads sucked. I'll blame it on the leads. But no, it was a bad day. Just people weren't buying. Nobody was buying. Nobody was biting. So we got down to the 8th or 9th appointment, very last appointment of the day. Some little town in Middle Tennessee. Rode up, looked good on the outside, nice, clean, double wide. They tended to a garden, had a detached garage, nice truck out in the front. So I figured, hey man, this will probably be okay. You know, at least it won't be a shithole. So little did I know. So we walked up to the door, knocked on the door. First thing, the guy behind the door said, "Who is it? I've got a gun." So the ride-along guy was a little disturbed by that. I didn't faze me. I thought, oh, this guy's a jokester. So he opened the door. And so out walks this 6-foot, barrel-chested, fat dude, shirtless, biker outlaw looking guy. I mean, if you can picture, Sons of Anarchy, goatee, biker looking dude, this was him. All right. So he let us in. Immediately, two things I noticed: smell the remnants of pot in the atrium of his double wide, and then as we go to the table, they're already cracking open beers and getting drunk. It's like Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, I mean it was, kind of concerning. And so, not the first time you see somebody drink, so no big deal. So we sit down, we start talking. The lead we used asked about your favorite hobby. And they didn't have a hobby listed. So we were talking. He said, "Yo, man, this must be the lead. I had somebody call me." This is the outlaw dude talking. "I had somebody call me and ask me what my favorite hobby was. And I told them my favorite hobby was the F word. We were laughing, but you could tell this guy was a little wired up. I mean, he was just a little strange. So he kept going on, and he was just over the top about talking about his business, talking about his job, talking about his hobbies. He even called the local funeral director in town, and asked about pricing, which wouldn't have been a big deal, except the guy was in a nursing home. All right, I mean, so this is like how the appointment's going. It's just really weird. And so he says, "Hey guys, let me do this. I want to take you out to my shed out here so I can show you some stuff." And so we were like, "Oh, okay." And then again, I was in one of those moods, and the guy was so intense that I didn't have a foot to wedge in there to try to redirect the sales call. So we went back there, and the guy's a Harley driver, right? So he goes out, he's got his Harley, he turns his Harley on, and the guy lets this Harley run, gasses it up for like 10 minutes, it seemed like. And I'm sorry, Harley dudes, if you drive a Harley and you like showing it off, rev the engine a couple times and shut the thing off. That sounds the same, all right? So I'm sitting there. I'm trying to be as nice as I can, and I am a nice guy anyway. My ride-along guy walks out, right? He just walks out. He's had enough of it. You know, he's right. He got out. Don't blame him. So that went on. He was out there, so I kept listening to the bike. We were talking, and he showed me to the back of the room, you know, back in his man cave. He's got all sorts of junk back there, and keeps showing me like 50 things. And it's absurd. It's just weird. And this goes on for 15 minutes. So we walk out. I'm expecting to see my ride-along guy there, right? Well, so he's gone. He's gone. He's not there. And I said, well, what'd you do with Joey? Where'd he go? And then all of a sudden, like 2 blocks down, I see, and you got to understand, Joey, this guy's like 6'4". He's a big dude. He's a New Yorker. He's you can't miss this dude. And he's down there like 2 blocks away, and he's like, Dave, oh my God. And I said, what are you doing down there, Joey? He ran up there and said, oh my God, I thought they had you locked back in the shed. I was trying to flag a motorist down to come rescue you, so call the cops. I thought, no, man, this guy's just obsessed with his stuff. He's just trying to show me everything. But he was right. Joey was right. This guy turns out to be a freak, man. We went back in. He started talking about doing drug deals in the back of his construction truck and how to transport drugs without anybody knowing. And it was just escalating to being, there's one thing to be weird about something, and then it's a total other thing to be just off the deep end, which is what this guy ended up being like. And so, anyways, we so we ended up trying to get out of there, and it was funny. He'd go back, and my ride-along would laugh, and then he turned to me. He's like, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get the fuck out of here. He'd go on with the guy, encouraging him and him being nuts as opposed to being quiet and trying to regain control. And and so it ended. We got to the point where I went through the sales call anyway. It got to the point where I just wanted to do it because it was like a challenge. And so, anyways, long story short, we got to the end and asking for the deal. He didn't want it. He didn't need it, and all this whatever it was. I don't really remember specifically. But the point but the point is that at the very end of the call, we get up, we're leaving, and outlaw biker guy grabs. I mean, it's almost borderline aggressive. Grabs my ride-along by the shoulder and says, "Hey, I got one more thing to show you." And it was like a really aggressive, push on his shoulder, and he was worried. So we're walking out, and my ride-along's like, "We got to get out of here. We got to get it. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go." I mean, he was flipping out, and the guy walks out. Mr. Outlaw Biker says, "I just wanted to show you my doll collection." And he was serious. He brought this book and showed the dolls. I mean, this is how nuts this guy was. And so we got out. We left. I didn't sell anything. 8 appointments down the drain. My ride-along guy probably thinks I'm like the worst guy in Final Expense. I was that day. And, I had to change my underwear. So that was probably the scariest appointment I've ever been on. And I had no idea going into it. It's kind of the way this business is. You really have there's no guarantee what you're going to run into. And with this particular appointment, it was very frightening. Yeah, I don't know what to say beyond that. I mean, I just lucked out and nothing bad happened. But, yeah, that's it. I'm never going back there again. And I guess the point is I always say these at the end of these videos, or they're scary. Don't run them. Get the hell out of there. If you don't even have if your gut feel says it's not good, don't do it, because you're probably right. So that's Dave Duford here, living to see another day. FinalExpenseAgentMentor.com or FEAgentMentor.com. If you want to take your chances and think you want to experience this stuff, visit on over and talk to me, and we'll talk more about the program. Luckily, this stuff isn't really that, common. If it was, I wouldn't be here. So check my other videos out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment if you think, like I said, I'm a giant failure for not selling this dude. All right.